and welcome to Daft Souls episode number 20. We've done 20 of them. Well, actually, we've probably done more than 20, but we've lost some of them due to ghosts and robots, etc.
I never lost any of them. So
I know, and that's
fine.
great. Those of you who listen to other podcasts I'm on will know that's an amazing reference to Regular Features, the brilliant podcast that isn't about games and is mostly about cocks. If you're interested in that, have a listen. Anyway, today I'm joined by Mr. Camiro Gav, otherwise known as Gav Murphy.
Hello. I actually nominated us for a Games Media Award for Regular Features in the podcast category. And I wrote like such a long-winded thing like...
About why Regular Features should win a Games Award.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I thought it was funny. But I wrote it like I didn't nominate myself. But any of the things I probably should have, like work-wise, I was just like, I'm going to nominate Regular Features or something, because it'd be really funny if I got nominated. Because, like, I don't know, I imagine there are some games podcasts who'd be like, what the fuck am I moving nominated? And these cunts who've talked about games, like, I was like, you know, sometimes you don't always need to talk about games for it to be a games podcast. Like, really arty-farty that I thought, if we get nominated... That's awesome.
I'd love it if we got. I did actually. I think it's probably the same thing.
We should have done it.
I entered Daft Souls for that because because imagine we could technically I'm probably involved in enough podcasts that if I just add another like 3 or 4 podcasts to my weekly roster, I might be able to get myself into a situation where I'm definitely going to win just by blackening out the sun from all other competition. But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know, lots of people can be a bit funny about saying, oh, I'm not bothered about these awards. It's like, I'm a video gamer. I've spent my entire life chasing after shiny, pointless trinkets. Yeah. Of course I want an award. Of course it doesn't mean anything, but... Oh, fuck. It's
just IRL.
I'm being so rude. I haven't introduced our other guest, a very special guest, and it's a pleasure to have you here. It's Mr. Jim Trinker.
All right.
Of Video Gamer.
The only man that I would want to be beaten by in the podcast category, be it fair or unfair.
I'd argue that I'd go along with that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jim, how's it going? What have you been...
Could you say Gav's username again?
Camiro Gav?
Camiro Gav.
I can't...
Nice.
That's the car out of The Simpsons.
Camiro Gav. Camiro Gav.
I can't do Welsh accent. What?
Cumrod.
Cumrod?
Like Mumra.
Comrade.
Cumrod Gav.
Comrade.
Because you're a little bit Welsh, right?
I am actually totally Welsh.
Are you?
I like Welsh parents, born in Swansea, grew up in Scotland. So I'm actually Welsh. I'm just basically Scottish. But
why did they move from Scotland to Wales? From Wales to Scotland?
Don't know. Probably
That's
Thatcher.
fascinating because I'm a northerner in disguise because I spent most of my adult life, most of my teenage life and stuff up in Cheshire.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying.
That's not as interested in me in Wales.
No, I know, but it's like, I like both. You would say, hang on a minute, you're biased. As a journalist, I've spotted a flaw in this.
I had a drink with someone the other day, and I'd never met them before, and they were just like, after like 8 pints, they were just like, oh, do you know the thing that really fucks me off about Welsh people? Because they fucking love being Welsh. And I was like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know you were completely Welsh.
Yeah, I'm not like if you're going by DNA and where you were born, like
I'm
not Welsh at all. Yeah, totally. Like we moved to Scotland when I was about 10. I grew up. I had a childhood spent in Wales with a Welsh accent.
That's really
Welsh as you like.
I moved to the north of England when I was 9, and I never ever picked up the accent at all. I got flicks of it, but never changed. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Why aren't you
We
Welsh?
should hang out more. Maybe your accent would start coming
Yeah,
back.
it might do. Like you see, when I'm with my dad, like it comes out a little.
Is his accent still strong then? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's lived in Scotland for like. Don't know how, like probably about 20 years, because I'm 30. That would make sense because of maths. He's Welsh as fuck.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Welsh you are at the end of this podcast then.
Yeah.
It's the Welsh challenge.
It does come out every now and then. It really freaks people out.
I certainly feel really overwhelmed now.
This is a 2/3 Welsh podcast.
Yeah, and Matt thought he was being representative of the island, didn't he?
I don't want you guys to be like kind of like trying to shove your dragons down my throat, right? Like just keep that shit to yourself. Anyway, what have you been playing lately, Jim?
Stuff on PC. Which is, I can't think of anything specific. Like
why'd you sound so guilty when you said that?
No, it's just like about 8 years ago, I made a very, very like hard decision about like stopping PC gaming, because I was like I'm fed up of fucking buying new graphics cards and all that shit, and I was like, and the 360 was amazing at the time. I was like, right, I'm just gonna go console and just bother about games,
drivers, downloading drivers.
Exactly.
That's me. That's why I give up PC gaming.
Exactly. And
patience.
And then 8 years later or whatever, I've just jumped back into PC gaming again. And I've just been playing everything that I couldn't play before.
You play everything for 5 minutes. It's what I do whenever I make a new PC.
Exactly.
You load up Far Cry 3 and go, oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
What should I play next?
Yeah, exactly. So I've not been doing any like substantial gaming at all. I've just been like, right, 2 minutes of Mass Effect, 1080p, that's great. Skyrim, that's great. Right, okay, I'm going to really enjoy these later on, and then not fucking play them at all.
It's like making a buffet for one, and then just being able to walk around just picking at Scotch eggs naked on your own without really eating anything.
Yeah.
Do you not find it's a bit of an anticlimax though? Because you're just like, yes, I got this PC, right? What am I going to play? Oh, I don't know.
I do think that's
pretty much.
I think that's the ultimate anticlimax is making a PC. Because you make a PC, you completely appreciate how powerful it is, but then when you sit down and go, what am I going to do on it?
Yeah.
You go on Facebook.
Absolutely.
And you're like, is Facebook better than it was?
Right, well, it's time to tweet that I've built my PC.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But you do forget how good stuff is. But I do wonder, like, increasingly, I wonder if that is a honeymoon effect. Because I've actually just, because I completely... 100% have done the same thing. Like I ditched my PC stuff when the 360 was in its kind of prime.
Yeah.
Because holy fuck, like people slag off Microsoft now, for good reason a lot of time. But
the 360 fucking nailed it.
Yeah. There was a point where it was just so good that it was just like fuck everything else. This is the console.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd switch it on every night and play it every night and do stuff on it every night, and it was just badass.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've kind of got back into the PC swing of things about 2 years ago. But I think it's maybe because I've got an AMD card. I've started to this year for some reason. After years of being like, the PC's amazing, everyone should just build a PC. Why can't you be like us, you fucking jebens? I've now started to go, oh god, why is this being a dick? Like I've had trouble with recent stuff. Wolfenstein was one, just didn't run well with it, and I've kind of like I wonder why it is. It feels like maybe the next gen has created teething problems in terms of ports or something, but suddenly out of nowhere we've gone from being like the PC just being this beautiful swan that does everything you want when you ask it to being a bit of trouble again for some reason.
How do you like this is an interesting thing though. So I have fucking no idea about PC tech or anything like that, and like I don't do videos. Like I can capture stuff if it's on Mac and I can run it from Steam on my Mac, that's absolutely fine. I'll capture stuff then. But like how, like, so say you were going to review Wolfenstein, right? You're sitting down to review Wolfenstein on PC.
Right.
It starts fucking up as Wolfenstein did on yours. Like, at what point do you go, this game is like fucked? Or you go, all right, my computer's fucked. Is it like just going, right, okay, is anyone else having problems?
Yeah.
Like, because everyone's PC is completely different, right?
Well,
like,
I mean,
is there a standard when you're reviewing games and you go, right, this is what you should be on running this game? Like, when you receive like a PC game to review, just be going, right, look, this is where you should. You assume how good your PC should be.
That's a good question.
Before you
and
start
to be honest,
reviewing it,
my only answer is I don't really know because I've only ever really been like professionally reviewing stuff when I was like at OXM.
Yeah.
But I assume it's the similar thing if you have like a network. You end up, because you fall into these problems a lot, you end up having a small network of other people in the industry that you tap up and go, are you having like trouble with this as well? And I think with PC gaming, I remember with Wolfenstein particularly, I remember seeing some of the guys on RPS being like, because, you know, if you work on a PC publication, this is the sort of thing you can do. Being like, well, I had some trouble, but I took my AMD graphics card out and put an NVIDIA one in. Like, you've just got other graphics card. Like, I mean, to me,
like
that's
in
just
a cupboard thing. That's got,
let's try one of these. Yeah, well, maybe a number 4 would
like
be
a wine cellar.
Oh, the NVIDIA 640. It's a good year. Good year. Very, very stable drivers. But I don't, as somebody who dibs into different things, I don't really have the luxury of that. And it is a bit annoying when it's just like, and that's why I didn't. I had a few people being like, oh, it would have been great to see your thoughts on Wolfenstein. I'm like, well, unfortunately, it didn't run well enough on my PC for me to play it and capture it. So you just can't, which really sucks. But that's a really specific problem for like tech people and not for actually like people who just play games. So kind of veering straight into kind of like boring as fuck.
I really, really, really want to build like a proper like gaming PC. And I think like, you know, there's something to be said for an idiot trying to build that, and I'd be like, right, what the fuck?
It's great fun. I'd really recommend doing it. I mean, do you build yours, Jim?
No, I paid somebody to build mine.
Yeah, see, that's.
To be fair, I think both answers are fine.
You know what? I've built PCs in the past, and it was the memory of that made me go, I'll just
shivering.
get somebody. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sure, it's hell.
Like the amount, like I used to work in Maplin Electronics as well,
awesome.
like a long time ago.
I love Maplin.
Yeah, like you know, you would put things together for people, you know, as part of the general kind of bullshit service and whatever. And the amount of times you put a PC together and it just doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
You know, and you think, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I want it to be somebody else's problem. I want the shield of consumer rights. So
I've got a lot of time for that. I can't argue with that. I mean, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of elitism within that area of being like, oh, you should definitely. I enjoyed building it because I'd never built one before, and I tweaked it before. I'd done the basic stuff like changing a hard drive or putting a new graphics card in.
I mean, I know people say if you know what you're doing, it's easy, which is such a fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
If you know how to fucking pilot an F-15, it's easy, I guess. But like, no, but you know what I mean? No, it's a piece of piss. Like, it doesn't take that much kind of, you know, going from a complete, like, you don't know anything about it, do a bit of reading up and you can do it. Because they're so designed to be modular, it's really not that much a big deal at all. Yeah. But where the difficulty comes in is discovering an incompatibility that you couldn't possibly have known about.
Yeah. That's the side of it. It's the tech side of it that's impossible.
Yeah, and some of these problems will crop up once you've finished, and you can't really do anything about them. So, I mean, I just decided, right, you know, I rather than buying off the shelf PC, I went for the happy medium of, you know, going to one of the custom build sites. That,
sure.
You know, you buy the components, then they build it for you.
Stick it all together for you.
It is to me mostly just a case of being meticulous and going through the steps and shitting yourself while you're putting the CPU on the thing. Because that's terrifying. That's like you feel like you're in the Terminator. Like you're just like, I've got to put this onto this thing without touching it. And it's really, there are so many specific rules. You cannot touch this. You need this to gel. You need to use this special metallic jam. Yeah. It's pretty frightening.
I'm not.
But honestly, the moment when it all clicks in, you kind of go,
you switch it on and be like,
it's like in the films. Well, no, the first time you switch it on, it just doesn't whir up because you haven't plugged something in properly, I found. But I cheated. There was a guide that was on. The thing is, I don't know how well set up this is anymore, but there used to be a thing on PC Gamer called The Rig, which was their kind of constantly updating. Well, not constantly, but you know, periodically they'd update it and they'd say, "This is the best PC you can build with your own money at this price."
Yeah,
like, and they would update it and being like, it always had the best components. I haven't checked for about 4 months, but it didn't seem like they were updating anymore. Maybe they just didn't have the budget to keep that feature because you have to pay somebody who knows their shit to keep doing that.
I guess so. That's a good idea, though.
It's a great idea, and I used that because it meant I bought a PC. I just bought all the components off the back of that. They just went, this is a good PC that will work if you stick it together. And so I just bought all the bits and made it. Having said that, you're right. I mean, the whole, it seems to stop now because it seemed to only start because of Dota 2.
Yeah.
But, which is just bizarre. You get these odd things. My computer just occasionally would just bomb. And I have a really, it's like, this is the problem that people don't talk about with PC building is, my PC is a Frankenstein creature that looks beautiful and runs well, but it's got a dark secret in the fact that every now and then when playing a game, usually Dota 2, it just goes...
Makes that noise?
Yeah, it literally makes that noise and the screen just freezes.
I would shit myself.
I did. I mean, not literally. But it just goes... and it just freezes and you can't do anything. And all you can do is switch it off. But then when you load it up again, when you switch it off and then you load it up again, and it just says, "Oh, mate, I can't find your operating system." And you go, "Oh, what do you mean you can't find my operating system?" It goes like, "Well, we've looked at this hard drive, and this hard drive doesn't work."
Yeah. Jeff said it should be here. It's not there. It's like, to Clive. He said it's in one of these little things. We checked them.
It's like this hard drive won't load up. And I'm like, "What do you mean that hard drive won't load up? That's my main hard drive.
It's got everything."
"What do you mean it won't load up?" And it's like, "Just won't load up." But then the weird thing is, because I've got this weird system where I've still got my old hard drive plugged in, I've still got a version of Windows installed on my old hard drive for my old PC.
Okay.
If I load it up into that old version of Windows instead of my normal one, and then after it's loaded up, restart the computer, it will then load
The proper one.
into the proper one. But until I do that, I can keep restarting it as much as I want, and it will not load that one. And it's like
that is terrifying.
It's mental.
Really scary.
It's actually mental, and I've spent honestly. I mean, I've spent so many hours looking it up to try and work out what the fuck, because it doesn't make any sense.
It's
And
like living your life with a battered spat, with like a spouse that batters you. it's like any moment they could just flip out.
But it does, like, at first it worried me because it made me think, oh god, maybe this hard drive is dodgy. But it isn't. It's just a weird. Occasionally it short circuits, and
Yeah. Like, can you imagine, like, the PS4 refused to turn on until you turn your PS3 on a couple of times?
that's exactly it.
That's how mental that is.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make, and honestly, I'm quite good at Googling PC problems, but
Yeah.
I've never worked out a way of Googling that's given me any insight into why it happens. I just accept now, and it's dumb because it means I cannot take that other hard drive out of my computer, even though I want to, just because I need to have that alternate
scary.
version of Windows that I load into to fix that problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, like when people talk about how great PCs are, they are, but even though I know what I'm doing most of the time, I have to live with this weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
See, that's the thing with console gaming. I think, like, I have so many people around, like, to my house and stuff to be like, hey, we're going to have a night of playing this. Like, it's going to be awesome. Like, if you then had to be like, oh, it's just turned off a minute, I'm just going to open the backup and be like, people are just like, what the fuck? No, I'm not doing this.
I just have to load my
Like,
old operating system
Yeah.
to fix the new one.
I don't
Can you
know,
imagine
like,
explaining that to a group full of
people who just,
people
people
who
who
want
just,
to play a video game?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not going to happen, is it?
I do wonder, though. I do wonder, because I try to be quite open about my own failings and my own idiocy, but I do wonder how many people who really do subscribe to the PCs are fucking awesome, consoles are shit, why wouldn't everybody have a PC? Who over the years has just had things that their PC does that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They just sort of accept,
Like Twilight Zone style.
and just they kind of go, well, it's still good. Because, I mean, my PC is still really good, don't get me wrong, but I accept that it has quirks that I cannot explain that are insane.
It sounds very similar to being a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah, that's exactly the same. I love Doctor Who, but I will not argue with anybody who turns around to me and says, mate, it is shit.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, yeah, it is. It's shit almost all of the time, but I love it.
Yeah. I watched the trailer for the Robin Hood one that's coming out this weekend, and I watched it going, oh, like Mark Gatiss has written there. This is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like I always try and watch the Mark Gatiss episodes because they're always like genuinely quite good. And I remember I watched this one and I was like, this looks like something that belongs on C fucking BBs.
I have to
like,
psych myself up to it.
not going anywhere near
The introduction to the series for the latest Doctor Who was just so universally awful and disappointing that I was like, I haven't had the heart to watch the second one yet. Because I genuinely still want to believe it can be great, but it's just sometimes I'm just like, I just need a break.
Yeah.
It's like being in a bad relationship. It's like, look, I still love you. I just need some space.
But that's the thing. I think with PC gaming is the same thing. Like, I think the people who are into PC gaming like fixing things, and there's that thing you get, like as you just said, you know, when you click things in place and you switch it on and it doesn't work first time, but then you go, oh, why hasn't it worked? Oh, because I haven't done this. Then you put it together and you go, bam, switch it on and be like, do you know what? I fucking made this. Like, I made this.
But
like,
I think it's annoys me, and that thing is that is empowering. But the one thing I don't like about the elitist nature is that it's all about personal blame. And the fact that, as Jim says, you can make a system, you can do your best job, and then there's some incompatibility that might just cause weird shit to happen that you can't. There's nothing you can do about. And maybe you've done everything properly, but there's just something you can't help. But the problem is, it's like if you admit to people, if you start saying, "Oh, I've got this problem with my PC, it's not working properly." People, a lot of time, people who are PC gamers will try and help you do it.
Yeah.
But even if they can't help you fix it, and it's just like you've got a problem that no one can fix.
Yeah.
There's a lot of an implication that you've just done something wrong.
Yeah.
And I just find that a bit. I don't like the fact that people are more willing to just defend the sanctity of PCs being amazing than they are to just sort of admit that even though they are really good, they are mental and sometimes they're shit.
But that's the nature of the internet, though. In fairness, I yesterday had to go. I lost a bet, and my girlfriend loves Nando's, and I can't fucking stand Nando's. It's shit.
Yeah.
But I lost a bet, and I was like, right, okay. What's the hell? Like, I'm trying to eat like healthier and stuff like that, and I thought, there's no way Nando's healthy. So I thought, I'll just Google what's the healthiest meal that I can get in Nando's. So I Googled it, and obviously Yahoo Answers comes up first, and it was literally just like
napkins.
But it was literally, it was like the question, the answers were just like, why didn't you just like, you shouldn't be eating a Nando's? And he would be like, oh look, I know, I'm with you on this, but I'm asking a very specific question. I want a very specific answer. I don't want people to go, oh, we should be doing this, we should be... Like, I literally just want, like, the answer to the question that I've put. Like, I don't want a PC person to then be going, oh, we should be doing this. Like, I just want the answer to that specific thing, which, like, I think is a similar thing to...
And that's exactly the same thing, because chances are, like, I remember, like, you know, with a lot of the Wolfenstein stuff, it was like all these people who had AMD cards being like, there's some real trouble with this. Is there anything we can do to do that? And like, you know, half the response is like, oh, you should have got an Nvidia
just
card.
Fuck off.
And it's just like,
it's the whole should have bought a Mac thing.
Yeah, it's bollocks.
Should have got a PS3.
Yeah.
Okay. Just fuck off.
it is a thing, and I don't. It's that. It reminds me of like a Fast Show sketch of just being like, you know, it's like, have you done this? Yes. Have you done this? Yes. Have you done this? Yes. Well, sorry, you must have just fucked it up. It's like, no, I've done my best. But no, I think it is a tough one. But
the amount of times that you see people in a similar sort of way, you see people talking about various problems they're having with it. Could be with games, could be with hardware, could be with anything else. But someone asking just really earnestly and genuinely, has any this thing is happening. Why? Does anyone know? And then the first 10 responses are, I ain't having that problem.
Yeah.
You must be a dick.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, have you tried not being a cunt?
Yeah. It was actually, there was a sort of masterful topic, but there was a tweet last night that had me just roaring with laughter about midnight, which was like a response to the whole people, like, with there's been a lot of celebrities having naked photos leaks, and people going, well, you shouldn't take naked photos of yourself. And it was just a tweet of a guy just being like, runs up to you with a taser, takes your shoes, like, you shouldn't be wearing shoes. It's like, it's just like, no, fuck off. Anyway, what have you been playing lately, Gav? You've been playing, not PC stuff, obviously.
No, I don't play PC stuff. I've been playing Fez on Vita, which I've never ever played Fez before.
What do you think?
I really like it.
It's very likable.
Yeah, it's look, that's the thing, like, I don't really get sent that many games by PRs or anything like that. So
I feel like I need to give you a hug. I feel like I need to give you a hug. You said that in a sad way. I don't get sent games either, but you seem upset about it.
Well, that's the thing I did at the beginning of my career, and then as my career, and then more PRs and marketing people decided, oh, this guy can't do anything for us. I stopped getting sent games and tat and stuff. So
you're the problem, Gav.
Now and
problem.
Now and again, I'll get stuff, and then there are some PRs who'd be like, yeah, this guy does good stuff, and I'll send him a game. But that very rarely happens. So and because I'm also poor, just spend all my money on booze, I have to rely on PS Plus for most of my games. So, but like, I don't know, Fez, I watched Any Game Movie, I really liked it. I sort of, whatever you think of Phil Fish, he's great in that film. You can watch him and be like, I think he's an arsehole, or okay, I think he's a tortured genius. And I love him.
The thing is, it is interesting for such I think for such a polarizing man. Yeah, Fez is just like, that's my one of my idiot litmus tests. Really, it's like, I don't care what you think about Phil Fish. What do you think of Fez? Yeah, because anybody who plays Fez and doesn't go, yeah, it's pretty likable. Yeah. Anyone who has any strong opinion, apart from like, I can appreciate when people love it because it is aesthetically lovely. If anyone goes, I hate Fez, it's like, no, you don't. You're an arsehole. Like, no one can hate that game. Yeah. It's like,
I'm about 80% through, and I've completely forgotten, even now that I'm talking about it with my words, that Phil Fish has made it. Like, Phil Fish and Fez do not exist in the same world for me. Like,
they shouldn't, in a way.
That's the thing. Like, I'm playing the game, and I'm just like, this game is great. Like, it's really, really good.
If it'd be a game that he'd somehow impart some of his politics on.
If his face was instead of the little man, then...
If his face was in all of the backgrounds.
It's just the Morrissey of games. You're allowed to like the work of someone you think is a bit of a cunt. It's fine. I'm not saying Phil Fish is a cunt, you know what I mean? But... there's no cognitive dissonance required.
No.
You can like their work without liking them. I don't know why people can't separate that a lot of the time.
No, it's
like,
absolutely
Morrissey's
true.
An asshole.
That's it.
I love the Smiths.
Yeah, precisely. The Smiths, amazing. Morrissey these days, just like, Christ, man, pull yourself together.
Shut the fuck up about leather couches, you stupid cunt. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But I'm generally like, Fez, I sat down and played it through. I'll give this a little hour now through, and the first hour and a bit, it's just brilliant. Like, it's one of those games that's really, really good because it makes you feel like the smartest person alive. Like when you solve something and you're just like, oh, I know what that means, and then like you just go, oh, I know how to do this, and you sort of like hit right trade a couple of times. I'm playing on Vita as well, so like I don't know, it lends itself really, really well to Vita.
Yeah, definitely.
It's genius. Like, anything that can lead you down the same paths it's led everyone else down, but still make you feel like you've figured it out.
It's the key thing of any like a great puzzle game will make you feel smart.
Yeah.
But an amazing puzzle game will make you feel really stupid.
Yeah.
And then
really
feel really smart.
Yeah.
And that's like that's why Braid.
really good. Yeah,
that's why
that's
Braid was
interesting.
amazing because it was like you felt like you completely were an idiot, and then when you worked it out, you felt like a genius. But the only criticism I have of Fez was that I spent a lot of time with pad of paper working out the ciphers. And working out like what all of the coded stuff meant.
Yeah.
And it was all really boring. Like I spent loads of time translating what the characters were saying into English because there are ciphers.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
And they didn't say anything of interest.
Oh no.
It was just like, hello, how are you today? And it was like, mate, I just spent 15 minutes doing that on a pad of paper. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just personal taste, but I was sort of hoping there'd be some sort of like interesting plot.
Yeah.
For like in the same way that, and I think this is more to do with my expectations for the game.
Yeah.
That because I played like something like Braid, I expected it to be one of those games where you could, on a surface level, go all the way through it and have fun.
Yeah.
But then if you wanted to just really delve into secrets, it would reward you. And it didn't.
Yeah.
It was like...
That's a fair enough point. I'm not quite there with
that. But that's not criticism. It's like the rest of it, and the music, and the visuals.
The music's great. But it's just really, really fun to play as well. And, I'm only just over, I think I'm about 60% through, something like that. So, but I mean, I don't really have that many criticisms of it other than like, when you learn, I wish it's not that easy to go back to something you remember like from yesterday. So you remember like something from a couple of like a good couple of worlds ago, and you just go, I wish I could have known that then, because I haven't really clicked with getting back to where I want to go. Like I'm not that fluid where I'm going like, I want to go back to this with a bit of water going. I know exactly how I get back to that portal and stuff like that. Like that really annoys me.
I spent a lot of time wondering. Yeah. Especially there is a point towards the end of the game where it does require you to like remember things from elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like,
I don't mind that. It's just the fact that I know that there was, bits where really, really early on there were cubes, and I was looking at going, I'll come back. I'm sure I'll learn something and come back. But actually, no, you should have been able to work that out while you were there.
And actually, that's one of the things I love about it is it's clever enough that it tricks you into thinking, I can't do this yet. There must be an ability I unlock, and then you don't unlock any abilities.
Yeah.
You don't unlock anything. You can do everything right at the start of the game.
That's a really good thing.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like apart from a few of them require you to know codes or require you to like know secrets that you couldn't know unless you'd seen them.
Okay, yeah.
And there are some really smart things it does in the puzzles that are like. But yeah, it's a real
awesome,
shame that
really, really good.
I would have loved to, it was for like a first major release. It was such a strong piece of work that I thought I would love to see more. It's a real shame that it's this weird thing, and it's like it's a weird thing that you can't be a creator anymore. Like it's the modern thing, and I hope that we do get past this sort of hurdle, creatively, that you can't be a creator without also being
a target for people saying
thing
going around your house.
As Jim says, he is very much the Morrissey of things, but I think it's because no disrespect to the guy, but he's clearly not 100% hinged. Like
that's the thing. I don't think he's the Morrissey. I think he's the Kanye West. I genuinely think he's the Kanye West of gaming. That he fucking knows, man. Like he knows. Like every single word that he puts out there in the world, he has gone into his head. Well, this is going to be fucking brilliant if I say this. Like,
no, I don't know, because I
genuinely think he's
I think Kanye West is mentally ill.
No, Kanye West knows. Kanye West is like Carl Pilkington.
I thought that, but then I thought that.
No, Kanye West isn't like Carl Pilkington. Like, I think Carl Pilkington is real. Kanye West is playing a character, and in the same way, I think Phil Fish is as well.
I saw Kanye buckling in a couple of interviews, and I'm just like, this guy's insane. He genuinely is drinking his own.
I think no.
But anyway, I mean,
I think Phil Fish. I think he knows. I think he's a super smart guy, and I think everything he puts out there, he knows what he's going to get back.
I don't think that's true. I think
I'd like to think that. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Well, no, we just turn around and be like, motherfucker, I couldn't give a shit about any of you.
The people who think that, the problem is the people who think that, the people who think that he's like faked the whole conspiracy, they faked his leaking and stuff. Like, there are people who genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
That he's basically pretending to be like hurt by things and pretending to leak his personal bank details and his company's bank details onto the internet to get sympathy. And it's like, I don't.
That's a Kanye thing. The Kanye of the games.
I met the guy once. Right. I met the guy once.
Kanye or Phil Fish? Just
Kanye, yeah. Me and Kanye, we were chilling, right? We were talking about hip hop. He agreed I was better, but we just left it at that. But then I met Phil Fish. And I don't know. I met Phil Fish, and he seemed like a really like kind of twitchy guy who was clearly really worried about what people thought about his game, and he clearly. This was actually at the same time that Indie Game the movie was being filmed. Okay, and it was at PAX at the same time.
Oh, sweet!
And I was playing it, and I didn't realize that. I think it was you were telling me about how he was at PAX and freaking out because his consoles kept crashing, and I was like, "Oh,
I think the build was crashing in the game." Or something.
I was interviewing him like around that time. Like it would have been within a period of a few hours, maybe, if that was happening.
Yeah,
and he seemed really like on edge when I was talking to him, and I was like, "Oh, I really like this game, man. I really like what you've done here." And I saw a kid who played it after me. He was like, "Oh, you're going to add speed runs?" And he was like, No, that's not really the sort of thing I'm going for here.
It annoys me there's leaderboards on the Vita thing. I don't know if that's a thing that's always... like. I was looking at it going like, how do you do leaderboards?
Maybe that's one of the things they have to do for the... I don't know. I don't remember there being leaderboards, but maybe I just don't remember. But
isn't there some kind of Sony thing?
Yeah,
you have to have.
It may be
you have to have some box you can tick for online.
Oh, really?
Interactivity. There'll be some bullshit like that.
That's what I was thinking, because I mean, I remember it being pretty lo-fi, but he was. I had a conversation with him about owls and why put owls in the game, and I thought, and he basically pulled down to he like had a personal joke with some friends of his about owls, and they just were all putting owls in their games because it was funny, and it was just like he just came across as a kind of weird introverted guy who was very cautious and very worried about. He didn't have any bravado for his game. Yeah. He wasn't like, my game's awesome. He seemed almost uncomfortable when I was like praising the game. He was like, oh, thanks.
Well, the thing is, this is a guy, isn't it? It's a guy who's decided to make a game, and he's decided to do something really creative. Like, and then we're expecting, the world is expecting him to also be, the art director of Assassin's Creed, who we talked to like a million times, who's just like, we're going to be introducing, and like who's really confident and talking and stuff. But no, this guy fucking actually sat down, made a game himself, like, and he's not confident about talking about himself. Also, from my
perspective as well, like of somebody who used to spend most of my career working with people and now works alone. Yeah. The advantage of being the creative art director of Assassin's Creed is you can get fucked off with people, and you can turn around to your office full of colleagues and go, "You seen these fucking twats on the internet shit for something I said in an interview?" Whereas if you're just one guy who works on your own, you either let it brew in yourself, or you talk to the nearest person, and the nearest person is often the internet. And I'm fucking guilty of this a lot of time. But it's interesting in the fact that I think, love him or hate him, like the guy always struck me. And this thing, like I think
he's fantastic.
He strikes me as being an artist in a traditional sense, and you might not like his art, but that doesn't mean he's not an artist. And he's an artist in the old school sense of the fact that he just cares about everything too much, and it's burnt him. And he's a lot of those flames have been lit by him, but I can relate to it.
I totally see what you mean about that. There's like a Van Gogh thing about him, almost.
But it's like he genuinely is just one of these people who just cares about things too much. And I think it's a real shame, though, because I don't necessarily think that people like that are necessarily always the best creators and always the most creative people, and that we should immediately...
definitely. A lot of the time they are absolute jebans.
Yeah. I cannot emphasise that enough. But the fact is, you do also occasionally have people who desperately care about things more than normal
operating
people.
On a level we can't even comprehend.
Are genuinely making amazing things. And it's at the moment we don't have a system whereby we can protect those people very well. And it just means it feels like we're losing them. The people who really care about things are just being shafted out because
people are insane on the internet.
It's a shame.
I wish I was a good enough hacker that I could find out just the addresses of a couple of the people who have just been... I think this whole Gamergate thing has been disgusting, but I wish I was a good enough... I could go and go, right, I'm going to find that guy's address. I'm literally going to drive around to his house. And this thing's been going on like swatted, like a lot of like COD casters and Battlefield casters have been like...
You're going to pretend...
But not literally, like, because a lot of them are bit, so basically swatting is like, you guys probably know about it. Maybe.
There was a spoof story about it recently that got circulated.
There was a spoof story about what happened to the guy, but I think like this thing is an actual thing that people are doing where they're calling police around to someone's house. But like, I wish I could do that, but just go around to like a couple of these internet commenters' house.
I'm really worried where you're going with this.
Yeah, I know. But there's a couple of people who, have been, just really disgusted and like threatening people's lives and stuff like that. And just go around like just pretend to be police and be like knock on the door, like no violence or anything involved. And be like, oh, actually, we're arresting you because you made a death threat against a girl or a boy on Twitter. And just seeing and just filming their reaction and putting it out and be like, yeah, these are the people who you need to worry about. Just like people like Phil Fish and go, Right, so these are the fucking idiots. And it's like a 16-year-old spotty little kid going like, oh, really sorry. Like, I think it would stop everything.
It is a tough.
And then we bum the shit out of them.
That was sarcasm. Just for the record. No. It's tough. It's tough, and I think it's one of these things at the moment. I agree. It's like we don't, as I've said, I try to avoid this stuff in Daft Souls because I cover it a lot in my other stuff and what I talk about all the time, and I don't want to just become tainted by everything. But no, it's difficult at the moment, and it is frustrating. A lot of things. For those of you who don't know what's been happening over the past few weeks, there have been some difficulties within the industry, which have basically been they've been caused by a bunch of stuff, but mainly it boils down to a distrust in the press, which has bubbled up, and it's difficult because of the fact that a lot of the people who are the ringleaders of people who are trying to disprove the press are actually doing so from an angle which is quite dangerous and quite misguided, and a lot of it is rooted on kind of anti-progressive and often anti-women angles, and it's not that everybody who distrusts the press are those people by any margin, but it's been, I think, very upsetting for a lot of people who work in the media to see that people would rather side with people who are clearly working from quite an insidious direction, rather than to sort of give people the benefit of the doubt and think, well, maybe the media aren't actually as corrupt as I think they would. And I think there've been a lot of reactions from the media because people, I mean, it's very upsetting. And I mean, I appreciate that. I feel a bit aloof from it because I don't feel very much part of media or YouTube anymore. But I really appreciate how upsetting it is to see that people don't trust you. And
from my perspective, the most I'd say upsetting, probably more irritating thing for me is when people accuse you of not taking any steps to clean your own house, like, because there isn't a day. There isn't not a day. I don't know about you, Gav, but like every day we have a conversation in the video gamer office about the ethics of something we're doing. Yeah, is this okay? Yeah, like it comes up every time we come to
it's almost an in-joke within the industry. The only thing that games journalists ever talk about is ethics.
It's true.
It's actually true to the point where it is tedious.
Yeah,
it's boring.
Yeah, but
it's like you go to a pub and everyone's talking about whether this is specifically ethical.
But people think that you're sitting on a throne made of fucking Assassin's Creed merchandise getting blowjobs. It's just not.
No, that's the thing, is it isn't true. And it's like, I think a lot of people, I mean, if you're listening and you're one of the people who has felt just disenfranchised or disconnected from things and feel that that there are problems, that's why people have reacted in an aggressive way, is because a lot of people who do this stuff, I did it for years and I'm in a slightly different position now, but a lot of people still do. They do it because they love it. They do it because they generally want to serve consumers. They want them to enjoy games as much as we enjoy them. They want them to buy the right games. Yeah. And to see people have clearly such a disdain for us that they would rather side with people who are genuinely, I mean, I'm not, and this is the crucial thing, this is the difficult thing, is lots of people think that they're being branded as misogynists merely for questioning the press, which is not true at all. No. But they're choosing, they may not notice it, but they are choosing to side with hardcore misogynists rather than us. That's really upsetting. It's like going home and telling your mother that you're gay, and your mother saying, "Well, fine, I'm now a Nazi." It's being like, "Mom, why are you doing this?" Like it's just upsetting.
The thing that really annoys me is, like, as someone who works in the games industry, is when people go on about this, like, this secret cabal of people who are deciding things around. Like, as someone who, I mean, I'm not involved in that cabal. So I was thinking to myself the other day, I was sitting in my house and everyone was like, oh yeah, it's, they're all deciding shit. They're all and I literally was just like, if anybody's got any cause to be annoyed, it's me. Yeah. Like, who works in the industry. And they've literally gone, shall we invite Gavin to the secret club? No, we haven't. Like, let's carry on with that secret club. I'm the one that should be annoyed, not fucking
I don't want to be a complete cunt, but I'm actually, as an ex-PR, I'm very good at organisation. I've not been invited into the evil cabal either, and I think that's disgraceful because I'm really good at it.
Yeah. You're fucked either way, because either all these people are wrong and there is a cabal that you're not a part
of. Which is sad, and I'm angry about it.
So...
I mean... You
can't win either way.
Imagine if there was, in 10 years' time, I'd just be like, no one even asked me along for a meeting.
It would be awesome. It's like, you know, like in the Virgin Suicides, where they like 10 years later they all get together and they all talk about it. But like, it would be amazing if like there's like a Kaiser Soze moment, like late, you know, 10 years down the line, and like, you know, I meet Lee Alexander in a bar and be like, oh, remember that shit like 10 years ago where people were always like, oh, it's like a secret thing. Like, she'd be like, yeah, there really was. We just really didn't.
I know
we really didn't like you.
She'd invite me into it, I'm sure. I've got similar values. I'd be really disappointed if I am just running parallel to an actual conspiracy that no one's bothered to invite me to.
But I feel like
That's almost worse.
Yeah, it's definitely worse.
I saw a thing today that was like a map of like journalists and developers, and it was like, this person knows this person, but is also friends with this. And I was looking at it, and I literally, for a while, I was like, that must have taken you so long to do.
Yeah.
Like, and one, I wasn't on it, so I was annoyed. But two, I genuinely think like, and I saw an article the other day, and I can't remember who it's by, but it's been quoted a couple of times where this guy has been like, hey, do you know what? We should be helping these guys because they're young people. They don't know what they're talking about. And okay, they're being disgusting, but we were all young once. And that's like saying, boys will be boys. Like, and saying like, you know, the kids who kill fucking Jamie Bulger be like, oh yeah, boys will be boys. No, that's not fucking boys will be boys. Like, if you threaten someone's life, like to a point where they have to leave their house because they're doing their job, that's not boys will be boys.
The thing is,
you don't get a second chance.
It is really difficult, and I've been thinking about this an awful lot, but unfortunately I've had to take a stance on it, and just the fact that, like, the problem is, like, a lot of people are disillusioned, a lot of people don't trust the press. Fair enough. All I can say on that is I know a lot of people personally who's been spending a lot of time over the past few years really doing everything they can to try and engender that trust again.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't fair, right? The situation was, in 2007, a huge chunk of press respect was lost due to an incident at GameSpot with Jeff Gerstmann and question mark. And the point that Jim Sterling raises, which is so fucking on the point, is the fact that who was the person at GameSpot? What was the name of the man at GameSpot who decided that Jeff Gerstmann's review would have to change because of an advertising deal? And the answer to that is, I don't know. Yeah. No one knows. And that was the person who was the problem, right? It wasn't Jeff Gerstmann, obviously. He was the only journalist who has actually benefited from that situation at all over the past decade. Who was it? And so we have one of the few points of cut and dry that is actual corruption. We don't even know who the person who to blame was. And so the difficulty I have now is we still have a situation where I have people going, well, yeah, there's every reason to believe that press are corrupt on a wholesale level because of what happened with Jeff Gerstmann. And it's like, that was
I don't even know what that is.
That was one thing. Like, one thing that happened 7 years ago at one website. And like, it's just not fair. Like, because since then, every journalist has been impacted quite heavily by that, because there has been a real culture of distrust off the back of that, because it did put a lot of doubts in people's minds, and people tried to change. People tried to be more open, trying to communicate. And that's why people are so upset and angry about all this stuff, is because it's like, you know what? And, you know, myself included, I've done everything I can to just try and be transparent and talk to people and be honest. And I know I'm not alone. It may seem like sometimes people might look at me and go, oh yeah, Matt Lees, you're different. I'm not. I know loads of people who are just like me. They're just maybe not as good at expressing that on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's difficult and it's frustrating. But I think that the line I've had to take with it is that by stepping into the other side and having a conversation with people, if people have chosen to side with people who are genuinely like trying to remove feminism from gaming, which I just think is like such a loaded thing, which is like, no.
That's insanity.
It is insanity. If you don't want games to be an art form that can be critiqued from that angle, then I don't have time for you. Then it's like, I've just had to cut it off. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but like, if you would rather believe those things than have an honest conversation with me about it first, or with your other journalists you like, I can't talk to you. And all you can do is basically give them the tools they need to learn how to fish, but then just kick them off into the wasteland and go, look, I'm sorry, I can't deal with that. Because the thing is, like, you know, I know journalists who've been at the real receiving end of these death threats. It says a lot that I am somebody who often kicks hornets, and I'm somebody who often causes trouble with these guys, and I'm not included on all these charts of conspiracy theorists who are trying to ruin gaming.
Well, people have heard you grew up in Yorkshire, so they're just like, well, we're not going to fucking challenge this guy.
I don't receive. I mean, you know, I don't receive death threats. Like, I don't receive death threats. And I know lots of women who do for saying way less controversial things than I do. And as long as you see that's an issue, and I find it difficult because I think a lot of people want to have this thing of being like, well, we should talk to people and we should reach out. And it's like, no, because the problem is by doing that, we're actually doing a massive disservice to all of the people who we know who are receiving death threats. Yeah. And it's like by being like, hey, let's talk about the other side of the argument is basically turning around to people who have been had their lives threatened on a daily basis for weeks and saying, listen, love, I know that's a bit tough. Yeah. But maybe we can get this guy to realise that we're not bad people.
I saw a thing today that Zoe Quinn retweeted, which was like, and it was like the most vile thing I've ever read. And it was like, let's hurt her.
Yeah, it was like surrender.
It was like, let's hurt her, but not to the point where she can't. Yeah. It's like not to the point where she's too mentally retarded that she can't get our threats anymore. And I was like, I was reading that going like, that's Jeffrey Dahmer, evil shit.
Let's injure her to the point where she won't be able to move. Yeah. But not so much that she won't be able to be afraid of us. Was basically the gist of it.
That I think if you write that about somebody publicly, you have lost your right as soon as you've hit send to any kind of people going, oh, hey man, I used to be like you too. Like I used to be an idiot. I used to be a kid. Fuck that shit.
The crazy thing about that post in particular as well is that immediately she was accused of fabricating it. And that's the other thing. You can't win. Like these things happen to people, and you're immediately accused of making shit up.
Yeah. That's the thing, and that's the thing is basically for me what it boils down to. And I get accused of being, this is people say that's the wrong way to look at it. But I think people are misunderstood.
Mostly by me.
I don't think it's a matter of people having to have extreme opinions and either be like, are you going to be a massive sexist or are you going to be like trying to champion all women forever? I just sort of feel like the way that the things work is any show, if you even dip your feet onto that side of things and go, well, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Those guys will just take that as a victory immediately. Yeah. And we've seen a few prominent people trying to be fair and trying not to basically cause any trouble by looking at both sides. But I think as soon as you would say, well, let's look at both sides, or as soon as you say, well, I understand your side, those guys just take that as absolute evidence that they're right. And we've seen a few people, and I mean, I've sort of I like the guy, but Total Biscuit kind of did get it wrong with his whole trying to talk about the issues in a vacuum. Yeah. And because it means that then those guys just go, we're right. And it's like, the problem is, it sounds like you're being super Hitler to be like, we cannot admit, we cannot be like, let's look at both sides of this. Yeah. But the problem is, you can't.
Side to it.
There is no side. It is, and the thing is,
if you threaten someone, if you make threats against someone's life, you can't have a side.
It's not even about those guys. It's about the people who are sort of standing, going, well, yeah, maybe there is a problem with people trying to. To put too much social justice stuff into games. It's like by saying that you're on side with the people who are doing this, and it's like you really shouldn't be you shouldn't be. Yeah. If you got to the point where that seems like reasonable people to ally with. Yeah. It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's like, that's not a mantra that sane people use,
I like what you said about existing in a vacuum, because we were having a conversation before the podcast where we were just like, because we were like, oh, should we talk about this or not? Because it's bollocks. And my thing is, just get on with it. Let's get on with our jobs. Let's go on with caring and playing about and playing games, which is.
And that's the thing is, I don't usually like to talk about this stuff on this podcast, but I think that the difficulty is it has stretched over. And it does feel like it's not a case of trying to debate both sides. I feel like I'm trying to justify the way I continue to work in the industry.
Oh, yeah. Massively.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it's a case of now I have to, a huge amount of people, I have to just go, I'm sorry. Yeah. Until you can come back with a worldview that isn't fucked. Yeah. I cannot make content for you anymore. And I know that the thing that hurts most is I know that a lot of these people are not bad people. They're just people who feel disillusioned about the state of things. But they've got to understand that it's if you're going to be so angry about things, I mean, it's that you're going to side with people who are really, really nasty. You've got to appreciate that we're just going to be like, well, no. And it's just watching other people, watching people, because it's easy to try and be reasonable as a man who talks about games and can say what the fuck he wants and basically only be abused mildly on a regular basis. Like, to know that I have, colleagues who are literally like, their lives become a living hell.
Yeah, that's mad.
Just because they are women who stand up about this stuff. It's like, I just feel like by even saying, oh, well, let's try and listen to their side. It's like, no, people need to appreciate that being on that side is inherently bad. Yeah. And if they can't do that, then I can't talk to them, because I just feel that doing that is doing a massive disservice to my industry. But anyway, yeah. I
think we were saying like about things like existing in a vacuum and stuff like that. But I was going to say like first of all, like one of the things that obviously it's not on that kind of level of death threats or anything like that. But I remember like I put out a video before for CVG and I can't even remember what it was about. But like it was at the time that I was going out with a girl that I was going out for like 9 years. Like she was my life. So, often if we were doing stuff, I'd be like, hey, here's a picture of me and her name, like doing shit. And it was like a video that went out and someone tweeted her, didn't even at me in it. Like, so they literally gone out their way to go through my feed, find her, and then at her going, your boyfriend's a fat cunt. Yeah. And like, and the thing is like, it's the wrong kind of person, because I would be like, that is amazing. Yeah. But she's just like, I don't like that. I really, really don't like that. I really don't like that.
That's the thing. It's still super mild. Yeah. And actually, like when I started seeing my girlfriend, I got really annoyed about the fact that it's just a weird person aside, but I got really annoyed about the fact she wouldn't add me as in a relationship on Facebook. And I was like, I said, "Oh, we're in a relationship."
And that's because she's sucking off. She's seen everyone on Facebook.
I know it's
Zuckerberg.
It's painful.
Zuckerberg.
Gav, this is not regular features.
I forget sometimes.
You forget. I forget as well.
Yeah.
But no, I was kind of annoyed by that. But now I'm like actually so glad. And this is the thing. Like, it makes me realize it's like I don't get that much grief. But it's like knowing that just because of opinions I occasionally have, I'm actually glad that it's not easy to find out who my girlfriend is, because I know that otherwise people would probably be sending her abuse.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have anything to do with like my job.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just one of these things where it's like, I honestly am just very much in awe of a lot of the women in the industry continuing to do what they do. Yeah. Because I have weeks, like I remember having a week a few years ago at OXM, where I sort of, all I said was that I thought Devil May Cry 3 was awesome. I thought Devil May Cry 4 was a bit shit in terms of like story and stuff. Good combat system, but it was a bit weak. And then I was really excited about the new DLC because it was like, not as technical, but had a lot of style. The fighting system seemed pretty competent. Thought it was going to be good fun. And I just received so much hate for days. Yeah. And that was just because I didn't like Devil May Cry and that I accepted some of the changes they were making. Yeah. I received so much hate. Yeah. But when I see like one-off posts about just stuff that people receive every day, it's like, how do you do this? Because you know what? If I had a week of that, I'd be out. Yeah. I'd just be like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, we were talking when we talked about before the podcast. Like you were saying, like when you were trying to like explain to your wife, like this kind of stuff. Like I remember, like I was drunk with my girlfriend the other night, and it was like 3 a.m. I'd ignored, like I hadn't been on Twitter the entire weekend, and then it was just like, why is everyone fucking talking about it? So it was like 3 a.m, like a Sunday morning. And I'm absolutely off my tits, like trying to scroll through and trying to find out what this Zoe Quinn thing was about. And then I was like, literally looking at it. And then my girlfriend going like, and she's not on Twitter or Facebook, thank fuck. Like she barely knows the internet exists. Like she doesn't like game. And I was just like trying to explain it to someone outside of that. And like outside of the, like games and outside of like, the internet and outside of, and trying to explain to someone like what has gone on. And you literally have to give them the facts and be like, okay, this has happened. This girl did this girl did, and then this person said that. And like literally watching yourself. I think I've said this before, but like, and this happens a lot with her, but like watching yourself get less and less attractive to a person because of the world that you live and work in. And it was just like, this is awful. Like,
genuinely,
she literally is just like, I think, what did you say about your wife? You're just like,
she like, there's been a number of times where because like again, like you were saying, she my wife's totally separate from this. She doesn't get involved with any of this shit at all. And trying to explain it to her, it's just she looks at me like this.
You're an alien to me.
You are talking shit. How can this be a thing that's happening? Like, how can people be? Like, do these people not realize that Gaza is happening. Like, and as much as like that whataboutery is really annoying, because everything's relative. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, she's got a point.
Yeah,
like this people talking about this like it's a real sort of
injustice,
like it's crusades, like
Well, this is the thing. I mean,
it's the Million Man March or something.
I like it.
So you're talking about toys.
I think somebody.
I like how your wife is basically the videos that you do with Chris Pratt on Video Game, and like where you pretend to be his dad.
Yeah,
that seems to be that kind of like thing where you just like, so what? People are upset because this is only coming out for one console. Like, I think that's a really, really good point of like approaching it. I think.
It's essentially my wife is the old dad. Never thought really that before.
Yeah, and now I'm never doing a video of that again. Brilliant, thanks, guys.
Ruined everything for everyone ever. It is, but that's the thing. It's just mind-boggling, and I think it's fascinating how people, any adult I've met in the real world just tears apart like the arguments immediately because they're not good arguments.
No, because they're done by children.
Well, that's the thing. They're either done by children or by hateful adults. I mean, some of the people who are adults doing this stuff are just people who I can't be angry with them because I just look at these people. There's a guy called David Arani or whatever who's funding a documentary against. And he's Sarkeesian, and it's like, I mean, he is literally a dangerous racist and sexist. But it's like I look at him and just think, what happened to you, man? Like, what things have happened to you that your life has been so bad that as an adult you've been shaped into this? It's like looking at a piece of Play-Doh that's been like just only played with by kids who just want to shit on things.
We used to do a thing.
Not even penises. I mean, that'd be fun.
We used to do a thing at university, and admittedly, like I went to quite a male-orientated, I played rugby, so I'm into that kind of world. We used to do a thing where anytime that you had a problem with someone, you would be like, right, we need to end this shit because you're being an arsehole. You're being an arsehole. You're being an arsehole.
Yeah, it's a classic thing, yeah.
Let's put boxing gloves on.
No, sorry, I said it's a classic thing. This is not what I did.
This is weird.
Carry on.
I was explaining this to Joe Scrabbles, who's a journalist as well, at one point. He was just looking at me going, you're a fucking maniac. But we used to literally, like, if you're having an argument with someone, and it's literally, there's no way of changing this argument to be like, right, you have to put boxing gloves on, you have to put boxing gloves on, we're going to put boxing helmets on, and we're literally going to finish this right now.
You're a barbarian, Gav. I mean,
but that fucking David, what's his name? David, I don't even know his name.
Ronnie or something. Or
if there's if there's anybody listening to this that can somehow set up some kind of actual fight, that if whoever wins the fight, that's the end of it. That's the guy that I would fucking fight. In Fight Club, when they're like, oh yeah, any kind of person in the world, who would you fight? They said like Abe Lincoln, I would fight William Shatner. Like, I would fight that fucking guy.
I'd stop you from fighting.
He's awful. He's an awful human being.
He is, but
and he's never going to learn. He's never going to learn unless someone actually...
No, but I can see the film playing out in my head, and like after you beat the shit out of him, he will go and kill women. I mean, this is the thing that worries me most about it.
Like, I watched a video on his channel the other day where he was just like, this is the problem with blacks. Yeah, he's smoking a cigarette and just I
watched that.
I think it was you sent to me. I was just like, you what? Like, how are people paying this man money?
And that's the thing,
it's crazy. And like, I pointed that out about that guy. Look, this man has made a 20-minute video essentially saying, well, fuck the blacks. Like,
no, when he says, hey, let me tell you something. I like the blacks. I like you blacks. You know why I like it? And I was just like, and watching like, he's always got like a glass of whiskey and cigarette in his hands. Like, mate, we get you're an adult. You can smoke and drink. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It's like he was going on about like he's talking about like this is the scientific case for why white people are better. Like it was that bad, and it was 20 minutes of this utter just shit.
I mean, he's the kind of guy who quotes like Tyler Durden from Fight Club, not realizing that the whole point at the end of that film was that he realized that Tyler Durden was damaging and wrong, and that's why he expelled him from his brain. It's like
I literally just did that.
I know you did, Gav. This is an intervention. Sorry,
but there's this whole bit of a cognitive dissonance because you point it out about this guy and link to a 20-minute video in which he says these horrible, vile things, and within 10 minutes. I had somebody in my fucking mentions getting on at me going, he's not racist. Why are you saying he's racist? Because of the things he said and done.
Because of this video right now.
Yeah,
right.
Because this is not an accusation. It's because he has filmed himself being a racist cunt, you know, and put it on the internet for all to see. Like, I'm not making this up.
This is the difficult thing, and it's like it's really difficult because it is basically. And this is why people are like, hey, why are journalists attacking gamers? It's like, because you guys are happy to stand next to people like this because they don't like Anita Sarkeesian. And it's like, he is mental. Yeah. I mean, like, he doesn't need money. He needs mental help.
How do you expect to have any credibility when you're siding with
It's difficult. And I've had conversations with similar people and they say, but look, he's really racist and he thinks that all women are sluts and he's angry that he has to settle for shacking up with a slut because he thinks that that's what life has dealt him and that he thinks he has to crusade in an actual kind of war against women to change this. And I'm like, and they go, yeah, well, I don't agree with everything he says. And it's like, and it's like the
just
problem
a bit
is,
of 1725 to 1740. That 15 seconds, bang on, man.
The problem is this does boil back to that whole, like, you know, it's that the real issue here is it's such madness that it does drive you back to counter madness of being like, it is a bit like having somebody, you know, like the Nazis being like, we're going to kill Jews, but we're also going to rejuvenate the German economy, and people going, well, obviously I don't agree with everything Hitler says, but I do want to rejuvenate the German economy. And it's just like, yes, but and it's like,
people out there who will tell you that the BNP have some really sensible policies on transport.
Yeah.
And
their recycling policies bang on.
Yeah. And like they do have some sensible policies on transport. It's actually true.
Yeah.
But they're fucking mental. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, and that's the thing, and so that's why it's been a long-winded thing. But that's why maybe if you feel a bit frustrated at the way that you feel the press have lashed out at
let's do a fight club. That's what you're going to say. Let's do a fight club. I would genuinely be up
what
for
we have
doing
to do
a fight club.
is a fight club where you come and fight us.
No. Yeah. No. I think we should be. This is definitely how we end this, right? So we end this by going right. Because it's not going to end in words, it's not going to end in videos, it's not going to end in anything like that because it hasn't ended already. So we literally go like, okay, everyone who's on one side picks someone, everyone on the other side picks someone. Those people fight. Whoever wins, that team gets a point. Like, you said you're going to set things up, Matt. Let's set this up. I want to fight that ball cunt.
I am not organising a fight club, Gav. As much as I love
that's the thing, because people don't organise fight clubs, right? Because you don't talk about fight clubs. So,
I see what you've done.
Yeah, good one, Matt.
You've created,
good one, Matt.
Created a new unbreakable conspiracy, and for that I respect you. But no, I was going to end it.
If you want to buy tickets to the fight club, we're on Eventbrite.
No, we are not doing a fight club. How many times do I have to do this?
Of course we're not. Of course we're not. Of course we're not.
Club is a tragedy.
Of course we're not doing a fight club. Of course. Wink, wink.
All right, well, we'll have details about the fight club on next week's podcast. But in the meantime, I was just going to try and end briefly on something which is widely been ignored. But there's a guy called Daniel Nye Griffiths who is actually a proper journalist. He writes for Forbes, and he is like one of those. He's got an interest in games. He writes about games, but he's a proper journalist. I met him a few times.
Can he fight or?
What's it? give it next week. He's super fucking smart. He's like the sort of man we talk to. You're just like, Jesus Christ, you're actually like, you are really intelligent and really properly trained as a proper journalist in a way that it's just immediately a combination of awe and terror. But I mean, one of the things he's been talking about really with a lot of people who say, I don't care about misogyny, I don't care about sexism, I don't care about this stuff. All I want is press to behave. All I want is the games press to behave properly. It may be of interest
in non-fight club events.
It may be interesting to know that this guy, as somebody who is fully trained as press, points out the fact that, and I agree with it because it is literally set in stone true, that all of the ways that people want us to behave are actually completely contradicting all press regulations. They want us to report on unsubstantiated rumours, and it's the thing of, that's the main issue here, is if you feel like you're being ignored because you want the press to behave in a more transparent way, you need to appreciate that the exact ways you wanted the press to react to this whole controversy drama thing would be actually set in stone a contradiction of all press ethics. So the reason that websites haven't reported on the story in the way you want them to is because doing so would literally be unethical in a very
That's a really good point.
cut and dry, and it's just something worth mentioning because I think a lot of people I agree. I'm talking to people on the fence here, because if you are on the fence, then hopefully this has been interesting. If you're not on the fence, then I don't want to hear from you ever again.
We'll see you at the Fight Club.
I'll see you at the Fight Club. God, Gav, you're such a bad influence on me. You make me say and do things that I don't want to do.
This podcast sounded like quite nice to about games. Then it was like, okay, we'll address the fucking Gamergate bullshit. And it's like, Fight Club.
you know, play me like a fiddle. You know, I don't like talking about these things on podcasts because I get fired up. And I've managed not to get fired up and remain completely calm.
Yeah.
And yet
there's a Fight Club
you've added into that by getting me to introduce fighting.
Look, all I'm saying is if somebody wants to start a Kickstarter to send us to that bald guy's house for a Fight Club, I'm not going to stop him.
I think you're a terrible person, Gav, but I do love you.
Also, on the subject of fighting, I would say that if you think that there is a homogenized game journalist cabal, just ask one games journalist what they think of the people who write for another outlet and then tell me that they're a homogenized cabal.
That's a really good point.
I can tell you that, like, you know, one outlet thinks the other outlet is a bunch of cunts.
Oh, everybody hates each other.
Absolutely.
Everybody. I mean, the idea that everyone's working together is hilarious. Everyone hates each other.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Because it's like, no, we all bitch about each other.
Well, that's a really good point. Like the Fight Club, like me and David wouldn't even be the main event. It would be like GameSpot versus CVG, or it would be like Eurogamer versus somebody else. Like that would be the fights first,
and me versus everyone. I mean, the thing that people forget is that people talk about nepotism being a huge problem in the press.
Yeah,
I hardly like anyone, and hardly anyone likes me, and I'm doing all right. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's evidence.
Yeah, in those lists where it's just like, oh, yo, this person and this person. Like, I looked at all those people and was just like,
there's a lot of
Matt.
Yeah,
he's a prick. She's a prick. Yeah. She's a prick. He's a prick. And I was literally going through and being like, I can't say those people are pricks anymore now. Because apparently I'm on their side.
Yeah, well, that's the nature of war.
That's the nature of Fight Clubs.
That's the nature of Fight Club. Don't talk about Fight Clubs. I feel like we've blown over the margin now. Do you want to do questions, or are we kind of ready to? I don't know. This has been a weird podcast. We haven't actually talked about any games, which is fine. I think we should just probably wrap it up and maybe go to the pub.
Yeah, I think let's do that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm going to wrap up. Go to the gym.
Are you actually?
No. Graffiti for my Fight Club.
Gav, I just can't.
That dude drinks and smokes a shitload more than I drink.
I think it's mostly.
I don't
apple
smoke,
juice.
so I've got the upper hand. You're right, Matt.
I think it's mostly apple juice. And yes, Gav, of course I think you could beat him in a fight. Of course I do, yeah. I believe in you. You're my friend, and we are essentially reverting back into high school now. And however, whilst I will come along with you after school for a fight behind the bike sheds, I won't get involved. I'll just stand back and watch.
Maybe video.
And if you get beaten up, I'll take you home to your mum.
Oh, I have absolutely no. He'd definitely beat me up. I'm all mouth. I'll get found out very, very quickly in this fight.
I can't believe.
Like, don't fly me over to him. Make him come to us, because otherwise it'll be.
If I didn't know you better,
if he's not jet lagged,
yeah, I've got no chance.
Advantage.
Wait, he has to drink all the drinks that he's been drinking throughout all them videos. Otherwise, I've got no chance.
If I didn't know you better, Gav, I would be shocked at how much you've managed to derail my sanity this week. If you've been impressed by that, though, if you've been very much impressed by the fact that Gav is just a fucking evil bastard, constantly trying to wind me up, then you should listen to Regular Features, because he does that much more effectively and I'm much more fair game most of the time. And also, I mean, Jim Trinker, as you know, one question I would answer actually, because we'll jump on, but. Somebody asked, I think it was Fedora Pirate, which is an awful name, but fair enough. He says, how do you feel about Jim replacing you at video game? I've talked about this a lot. He's brilliant. He's literally the person I would have chosen. And we both laugh at people who turn up now saying, where's Matt Lees? Because it's like, if you actually gave a fuck, you would have found me by now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we still get people asking, where's Matt? You're like, but you obviously don't give that much of a fuck.
Yeah. It's been 6 months.
It's been a long time now.
I mean, I get people asking me, you're not at OXM anymore. It's like, I haven't been at OXM for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's like, I could be dead by this point. They could be turning up going, where's Matt? And they'd be like,
You could literally tell people you were dead.
He died. Sorry, Matt, I'm dead.
Matt's been dead for 10
This is an automated
years.
Twitter account.
Yeah.
You not wonder why it's all bollocks?
10 years after you do actually die, though, there will be people still tweeting you a video gamer.
That's crazy. Imagine if I was actually...
Where's that Matt guy?
Oh my god, that's so dark. Imagine if I was actually dead now, and every time you had somebody turning up at a video game and going, "Where's Matt?" you having to go, "He's dead."
No, in fairness, if you were dead, I would have cashed in on that a long time ago.
How? What do you do though?
T-shirts, masks. We'd have a Matt day where everyone would dress up as you. And people had to pay £10 to come to a party.
We could round up all the mice at our work and be like, Matt probably used that.
Yeah.
For it. Oh yeah.
I think Matt got angry at this equipment not working properly.
For a second, I thought you meant real mice. I was like, oh, what the fuck's that about? Matt probably used that up his arse. Like Richard Gere.
Oh man. Well, this is right at the end, peaked in the way I hope this podcast would. Thank you very much for listening, especially if you're somebody who just usually wants to listen to about games. And thank you very much for you guys for joining me. I think we're going to go to pub and hash out the contract of you guys taking full ownership for my IP after my death. But yeah, thanks very much to Gavin Murphy of recently Eurogamer stuff, and you're hopefully more stuff on there. You did an amazing video about, and I'm not just saying this out of nepotism, obviously that is part of the Cabal conspiracy, but you did a brilliant video about virtual reality involving dinosaur goggles.
That was good. I saw someone asking if any of us are going to be at EGX. I will be at EGX.
Gav will. I won't. I've unfortunately got.
I'd imagine it's your job to be at EGX.
It's literally my job to be there.
If you aren't there, then you've really fucked up.
Yeah.
I had a guy on Twitter yesterday, like, create an account to tweet me going, "Are you going to be at EGX?" And I tweeted him back going,
adorable.
I'm going, "Yep, I'm going to be there." And he went, "Great, I'll see you." It's the only 2 tweets he's ever sent. But I will be EGX.
Incredible. Single purpose. Brilliant. Well, find Gav at EGX. He will be there. And are you going to be at EGX?
I will be pottering about EGX at some point with Chris.
Possibly in a vest.
Possibly in a vest.
And yeah, if you've not,
in fact, you know what? Fuck it, definitely with a vest.
if you've not ever heard of Jim before, Jim is the guy who, quite happily, I'm glad he took my job at Video Gamer after I left because he was the person I would have given it to. If you've not checked out his videos at Video Gamer, then I would do, because they are really funny. And he's also, he's a colleague of Brat. And if you've not heard Brat on the podcast before, you should, because he's great. Anyway, that's just me chatting bollocks. And thank you very much for listening as ever.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
See you at the Fight Club.
Bye.
Bye.